Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got my PRS SE Special Semi-Hollow. I'm going to do a few things to it. So I've noticed a lot of things on PRS SE guitars. They're generally very good guitars. Frets are mostly level. They're well made, they feel good to play, but there are some consistent things that I find on PRS guitars that need fixing. So we'll go over some of those things. So the things I'm doing today. I'm going to put on locking tuners, which I don't need to do. In fact, these tuners on PRS SE guitars generally feel pretty good. They're actually very decent for what you pay for. So I would say overall, as far as like, if we think of affordable brands that are in the big name brands like Squier, Epiphone, PRS SE, the PRS SE tuners feel the best, in my opinion, out of all three of those. But I feel like, on a Gibson, their tuners feel better, and high-end Fenders probably. I've had one high-end Fender. I had like one Fender with pretty decent tuners, like in the higher-end model, and that one model was like $2,000. It was like the what was it? The Fender Acoustasonic, the American-made one. It had pretty good tuners, even though it's like an electric acoustic. But if you're not wanting to spend that much money, PRS tuners are good, and I'm going to go ahead and put on some locking tuners. These feel great also, but I prefer the ease of a locking tuner if I have to have it, if I have my choice. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scrape the edge here. PRS guitars generally have an okay rolled edge here. It's not bad per se. And in fact, this one feels a little better than most. So I am going to give it just maybe just one pass even. Normally you do three at three different angles. I might just give it like one scrape on each side, on each fret all the way up and down. And I'll go over that when I get there. But that'll help feel it a little more played in. It's strange because I'm feeling this one now and I'm like, is it that bad? And I'm like, well, it's not bad. But doing like one scrape, is it really going to make it a little bit, is it going to make a big difference? Not really, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway because I think I'll like it a little bit better. I usually have to do that to most guitars, this one being no exception. If you like a nice played-in feeling guitar, you probably don't want to go ahead and get a razor and scrape your edge, and I'll show you how to do that. The other thing is PRS guitars, the SE versions and even the S2 that I own, none of them had perfectly level frets. None of them. So I have an ERT guitar over there that was like $500, had perfectly level frets. I bought two Suhr guitars that I've since sold, perfectly level frets. A Duesenberg, perfectly level frets. We had one Gibson in the house for a while, and that had perfectly level frets. But I've also played Gibsons without perfectly leveled frets. That might have just been a fluke, I don't know. That can go up or down. Anyway, what I'm saying is like, I don't know what the consistency metric is, but some guitars do it and some don't. SE version guitars, I find that, I mean, I'll show you. I'm going to show you with a rocker what it's going to sound like. So I'm not just full of dookie, as they say. So yeah, those are the things. I've got my tools out. So I'm going to spot level the frets. There's not a lot of them that were on level, but I have this StewMac fret kisser. This is really easy. Now, I will say, the fret kisser does not get a fret perfectly level like leveling the whole fretboard. Now, if you have a leveling beam, which I do, and I could level the entire fretboard, that would make the frets perfectly level. All of them would be level. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more effort it depends on what the payout is. Now, if you have like multiple frets that are not level, just get a leveling beam and do the whole thing. And it depends on the severity. Like if they're just a little bit out, like these ones, then I'm just gonna use the fret kisser and I'm gonna live with it. Because it's just not worth the effort. It's not going to let me reduce the action so low that it makes a difference, or the buzzing, or anything like that. These are just so close that I can level them a little bit and they'll be good to go. Another thing that Paul Reed Smith has said in videos is the frets that he uses for his SE guitars and his standard guitars are a harder material. And I don't remember if he ever talked about what that material is. It does seem to be true. I've leveled quite a few fretboards. Frets on the fretboards, and PRS guitars tend to be harder. So in my experience, it's like your standard nickel silver frets, Fender Gibson stuff, and those are pretty good quality. They're not bad at all. And then PRS seem to be slightly harder, and then like stainless steel is the hardest. Like stainless steel takes 3 times as long to do anything with. I've leveled a stainless steel fretboard frets on a fretboard just recently, and even when I was done, I mean, I leveled and leveled and leveled, and eventually I just got tired, and they were close enough where I was like, this is fine. I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And so it's like when you have such a small amount of rocking that it's inconsequential, I'm just like, this is fine. So I was done. Maybe that's defeatist, but that's reality. That guitar doesn't buzz. I don't have any problems with it, and it's set up to a fairly normal spec. So all that said, I know it's a lot. I just gave you a lot of information. Locking tuners. We're gonna roll this fretboard edge, and we're gonna level some frets. That's what we're doing today. So yeah, let's get started. So first thing I'll do is be sad because I don't have all my tools. So that's what I'm gonna do. Wham! I'm gonna get this string unwindy winder, and I'm going to unwind my strings. I generally try to loosen the high E and the higher strings first, because if you unwind the lower strings, it pulls these tight pretty heavily, and you can risk damaging or stretching or breaking a string. Right? This has 120 pounds of force on it, and let's assume you loosened all the strings except for one, then that string has just received 120 pounds of pull, right? So you don't want to do that. You kind of want to do them in order, or well, not in order, but like together. They must work in tandem. They're friends. So I just give them a little loosen, and then now, yeah, so go ahead and loosen this. The string winder saves a lot of time because doing this by hand really stinks. So, and you notice I loosened all of them a little bit by hand before I really went crazy with the string winder. So I will reuse these strings. These are the new strings that came on this guitar, and this guitar felt brand new out of box. I mean, it still had plastic pickup cover stuff that you get on new guitars on the pickups. So I do not think this was played. There was no signs of wear, even though I bought it as quote used. Right now, if you have any kind of money, you want to get a guitar, now's the time to buy. Not the time to sell. I'm going to sell a 12-string Paranormal Squire. It either has sold or is going to be sold, depending on when this video comes out. But I'm not looking forward to losing money, but that's reality. So I did measure the relief before I started. So this was at 4 thousandths of an inch. When I set this on the 12th, it measures here, let's see. It measures here at the, well, this is the 5th fret, yeah. Yep, measures at the 5th fret, but it'll give you a good indication of neck relief. This tool is really awesome, this relief gauge. Again, I was at 4 thousandths of an inch. And I think for a standard guitar, there's so many attitudes on this. I would say the way I like a guitar is somewhere between 0 and 10, preferably a little higher than 0. I should say 3. Some necks can play fine straight, but between 0 to 10 thousandths is fine. And sometimes as high as 12, and if you're working on like an acoustic, it could be higher. But the reason I mention that is because if I need to measure this again when I take the strings off, and I want to make sure that the neck is straight before I start leveling anything, because I want to make sure that the strings or the frets are not like at some weird angle once I get them out, or once I start leveling them, right? So once I start leveling those frets, they got to be flat and straight with one another and not all wonky. So this one's being a little bit of a pill here. I can't remember, do PRS? Yeah, they do this thing. They like wrap it above. It's a trip. It's like how they, God, it's like grabbed onto there. There we go. Let go of me. Get off me, you're not my dad. Okay. So I'm bending the hell out of the string, but luckily, like I will not need as many wraps. So the end of this that's like bent up now because I'm unwinding it, that'll go through the tuner, and when it, goodness gracious alive, when it goes through the tuner, I won't need as much string. That was in there, folks. thick strings, man. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna unwind these. What I'll do to keep them, because if you've ever done this and you try to unwind and wind strings back on a tree or on a tuner, once you unwind them and you try to put them back on, like if you do any kind of work, the strings will move around and tangle with each other. So it gets really terrible to deal with. God, they did the same thing here, this one. So like they're wrapping a bit of the string around the edge, so like it locks the string in place, which is kind of neat. I mean, it's a good idea, but that's a lot of work and I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, if I let these strings be loose here, they'd flop around and get tangled with one another. All right, props to PRS Indonesia. Well, actually, this is one is made in China because this is a hollow body. This is made, I believe, at the Court factory in China. But they wrap, these are wrapped up. I tell you, these have a career. They're wrapped so hard. They started a battle. They hang out with Eminem. And that's my old man joke for today. Make an Eminem joke about rap battles when I'm just talking about guitar strings. I am very smart. All right. All right, let's get this. Yeah, there we go. I almost have half a mind just to like clip it off because I don't want to deal with this nonsense every single time, because this is a bit of a pain to get off. I'm coming back, folks, I swear it. So what I'm trying to do is just grab that wrap, how they wrapped it around itself and pull it out. And of course I can't see well because I'm old. You know, I'm just gonna, well, I would clip it, but then like it's gonna be even harder to pull off the tuner. What have they done? This is wild, man. They like wrap the string back around itself and it's just like a nightmare to get off, and I can't grab it because it's so tight and tiny. Oh, I get it. Oh, thought I did. All right, I gotta do something else. I mean, I see what it's trying to do. Oh, did I get it? I think I got it. What a nightmare. That almost just is like, makes me want to just use new strings. Okay, I'm gonna clip off the end of this so it'll come free a little easier. Okay, there we go. Still got plenty of string to work with. It's gonna wrap around just fine. All right, let's hope the next one's not nearly that big of a problem. They like do not want these strings to move at all. I'm telling you. They don't need locking tuners because they have locking strings, man. I'm telling you. This is wild. Okay, that one was easier. You know, I don't know if this makes for a good video. It's like, do you want to see me make mistakes? Do you want to see the guy who seems to kind of know what he's doing, but not really know what he's doing? All right, so what I'm trying to do now is look for some painter's tape. I got some over here. I'm just going to tape the strings together so they don't move. So here we are, blue painter's tape. This stuff's great. When you work on guitars, you will use this. If I was leveling the whole fretboard, I would use this and I would tape up the whole fretboard, but I'm not going to because I don't need to. So here we are. All the strings. Now, they're kind of not perfectly untangled or whatever, but this will prevent more tangling. If I just get them together and tape them, this will prevent them from moving. So now I can just kind of set these strings aside like this, and that way they're out of the way and they're not going to have a problem. So got that done. Now I need to test the neck, see where we're at. So this is back bowed about 3/1000 of an inch. And I wonder if there's pressure from where it's resting. Like if I move it over here, is it going to look a little different? Yeah, it's about 3/1000. So I should unscrew that and give it a little turn. So be back with the Allen wrench. Here we are. We have met Allen the wrench. And he's coming out because I need him to do some work. All right. So again, like I said, I want to get this perfectly flat before I try to do any kind of work on it. Okay. Well, thought it was coming out and I could do it by hand. I could not. All right, so I have this little tiny screw and I don't want to lose it. So usually I keep a coaster here. I have one here. So I have this little black thing with a lip on it, and I put my screws and things in there so I don't lose them. Don't want to forget my special little truss rod thing that says special on it. Feeling like a special boy. Okay, so it's too tight, so we need to loosen it, right? So I'm just going to loosen it just a hair, and we're going to see where we're at. And okay, that took about 2/1000 out. That should give us right about 0. Perfect. We are at 0. Okay. Fretboard and the frets are now level with one another. So let's do that. Okay, so let's rock it, right? If these frets aren't a rockin', don't come a knockin'. That's my motto. All right, so just put this on here. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a little bit of rock. So that second fret, third fret, a lot more rock. That makes me sad because this is not what I want to do. I don't want to see like multiple frets. Ugh. God, that's a lot. Okay, well, more than I expected. Hard to see with all the strings on there. That fret's level. That one's level. A little bit of rock there in the middle. This makes me want to do the whole thing. Ugh, what a nightmare. I don't want to do the whole thing. I thought I was going to get out of here with just a little bit. It's like 3 or 3 frets here. There's like 2 or 3 here, but they're not all the way over in all the spots. I might just try to use this spot leveler. I mean, ugh. I mean, it's just a little bit here and there. I'm just going to use a spot lever all the way through. Do I want to do that? That takes so much time, but then I have to also tape it up. These are the hard questions, folks. What do you want to do? I'm going to do that last. I'm going to do the easy stuff first. So let's put the tuners on. I'm glad we checked it, but like, okay. So these are tuners that I had at one point bought for a different guitar, and I had sold that guitar. So when I sold it, I wanted to keep the tuners because I thought I might buy another PRS one day, and I did. So here I am with these locking tuners. So I didn't have to buy them again because I didn't send them out with the last guitar I owned. I had a PRS SE DGT that I liked a lot, but that didn't get on with the neck. The neck was just like kind of big, and I didn't like how the volumes were backwards. Like the volume on that guitar is wonky. Not a huge fan of that like setup where the volume for the bridge pickup is in the front. Like it felt weird, and I didn't like it. Okay, so I found the socket for the correct. I found the correct socket for these tuners, so this is pretty easy to do. Oh, man, that came loose super easy. I didn't even feel that turn. That was wild. Okay, so to make sure I have these all set up correctly and then like how I need it, I'm just gonna set these right here. Okay, yeah, I was like, there's usually, this comes with screws. I have the screws in there, but I'm just gonna reuse the same screws I already have. So here are my locking tuners. I'm gonna take these other tuners out. When I remove one, I'm gonna set it to the side, and they're gonna go back in this bag so I don't get them, I don't wanna mix up parts, right? So we're just gonna get all these little, gosh, these were not tight. Like, I feel like I could almost do it by hand. Yeah, like that one I hadn't even touched. And I can just unscrew that by hand. It's a bit of an oversight there. Little PRS guys. What are you doing over there? I thought you guys were the quality people. And they are for the most part. But, you know, like that was not even, I could just reach in there with my hand and unscrew that. That's not like spark joy. It doesn't breed excellence. It's fine. Everyone makes mistakes. They just weren't tightened. If that is the worst atrocity I find, actually I should say the worst part is these frets. I don't want to, leveling a fretboard is fine, but it's a ton of work. It's just a ton of work. Because then you have to like level, recrown, polish every single fret. And that is a bit of a nightmare. Okay. So I'm just gonna pull this guitar in front of me because now I got to reach behind it, and I don't even know if you can. Let me see if I move this a little bit. So I have the guitar in my lap now, and what I'm going to do is just unscrew the screws in the back of the headstock so I can release them, and we will go from there. And I will be reusing those screws. So I'm just getting out the appropriate screw here. You know, I'm glad I know how to do this kind of work, but I totally understand if someone's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to buy a guitar that's good to go. Like, I get it, dude. Like, this took me a lot of time and a lot of knowledge. And I'm glad I did it. I had to find out for myself, like, how much, what I need to know about building and making guitars and all kinds of stuff. It was not a fast journey. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. And I've set up quite a few of my own guitars, quite a few of other people's guitars, and it's been fun. But man, it's a lot of work. And honestly, the tools, there are cheaper tools you can get, but I don't like buying cheaper tools if I can avoid it. I just don't want tools to break. So in guitar stuff, like nut files are expensive, man. Like, so some of these tools are not that bad. Like Music Nomad has some fairly affordable parts, but when you start getting into like nut files, they're not cheap. The relief action gauge here, this black thing with a little gauge on it, it's not cheap. The nut file, the nut like slot height gauge thing, also not cheap. I mean, there's just so many parts that are relatively expensive. So it really depends on the work, but like when you start getting into fretwork, it starts getting a little more costly. I would say the amount I've spent on tools, I could probably buy a brand new MSRP like PRS S2. So I don't know, somewhere around $2,000, $2,500, right around there. Spent a lot of money on tools. So okay, so the tuners are out. You can see that the headstock is empty, nothing in it. It's naked. It's never been that way before. It feels afraid. All right, so I'm just gonna put these tuners back. So like, I'm just gonna screw these back in so they don't run away. And you don't have to screw them tight, just kind of get them so they're not gonna, I would say loosen, but kind of already saw that on the headstock, but let's see. Riveting, I know. Sorry, YouTube. Trying my best. What is the most, I guess that's the next question I have for you guys out there. What's the most difficult or arduous task you've done that took the most amount of training? May not have been guitar work, but I always find it interesting what people pour their time and effort into. Like, what is something you've done that was truly difficult that you surprised yourself when you were done? Like what gave you the oh wow moment? I can't believe that I actually did all that. And I'm saying that before like some Olympic swimmers, like, well, I did travel, I did work really hard to be in the Olympics. And I'm like, yeah, well, this certainly doesn't count, but I don't know. No one's gonna comment on my videos. Who am I joking? All right, so, whoop. I unscrewed the locking mechanism there. So with locking tuners, there is a little locking mechanism, and yeah, that part has to come out. So I don't think this can fit through the tuner hole. No. Yeah, I forgot about that part. So unscrew the little peg that goes on top, and yeah. So we're going to do the low E. Screw this on here. Little peg here, put that back. Okay, that's in tight. And screw the screw back in. So don't ever over tighten the screws in the back of a tuner peg, or like it's so easy to like strip these and like break them off in the guitar. So just hand tighten them, don't crank them down. If they're not going in well when you've removed them and they came out well, it probably means you haven't threaded it right. So back it out and go back in, and just get it to where it's hand tightened. You don't need the torque of like a socket wrench or anything. You don't have to like, slam it down or whatever. Don't do that. Actually, I need to remove this little locking peg mechanism because I'm gonna have to tighten the socket on the little top part there so it can sit in place. So I think, well, I still have to have this in my lap because I got to get underneath it. Can I do that from up here? I might be able to. Oh, I do need to be showing you guys. How good is this video if I'm not showing? It's show and tell. It's not just tell and tell. You guys remember show and tell? You're a kid, just going to school, and you wanted to be like, my dad bought me this goldfish when I was young, and now he's in a box, and this is his like burial chamber. Did y'all ever do that with like your little goldfish? No, just me. Don't make it weird. I'm asking for a friend. You guys are strange. You guys are so weird out there. Yeah. All right. We've got yeah, we've got 2 on. We've got 4 more to go. I'm trying to make sure I have the right ones in the right spot, so. Because there's 3 left and 3 right, and I just happened to grab the right ones, which is wild. I normally don't just grab the right ones. 3 out of 3. 3 for 3. That means I can't screw up the other side either. Okay, so that one's kind of on there. I am not thrilled to be leveling these frets. But, I mean, this for the purpose of this video, oh man, it's great. You should totally do it. You got some unleveled frets, man? Do your work yourself. I will say, if you do take this to, like, if you take your guitar to attack to level your frets, it's expensive. And reasonably so, because it's a lot of work, you know. I guess it's why stainless steel frets are kind of all the rage nowadays, man, because who wants to do... It's just so much work. It is so much work to level frets. I mean, if you have like 1 or 2, that's fine. But man, when you got to level a fretboard like I should be doing, it's just not quick. I will say these fret ends are rounded over really well. Like there's no sprout. Like they're really well done in that respect. But I really wish they just would have taken more time, like getting them level. You know, like why are they not level? Why you do this? This guitar is $1,150 new. Like, did you not think that price was acceptable? Did you think it was just overpriced when you made it? You're like, someone will spend this? I mean, I don't know. I guess they'll predict what they think people will pay. But when they're not level, it's like, well, it's not very nice, guys. I work hard for my money, you know? And I'm sure you do too, but, you know, this is a luxury hobby. When I come home, I just want to have fun with a little guitar there, man. I don't want to necessarily do this. I do enjoy this work, actually. I can't lie. But yeah, you know, it's not fast. Okay, so now we've got those on. They're not tight, but I want to screw the screws in first in the back. So I'm doing that. I'm just taking these little tiny screws, and we're putting them here in the back. It's dangerous that I do this in my lap, but I find it the easiest way to do it. Like, I don't want to set it on its front on top of the mouse pad and this neck caul, because I don't want to damage anything. I don't want to like scratch it if I can avoid it. If it gets scratches, fine, whatever, but I don't want to like do it, add any extra just because. So, yeah, and these screws are going in nicely. Yeah, almost done. I'll have it back up there for everyone to see. Okay. Ooh. Almost lost it, folks. Almost knocked stuff over. That would have been bad. All right. And we're getting this one on. Perfect. Okay. Oh, and of course I lose the screwdriver top part. All right, here we are. Okay, so those are all on. Now the next thing to do is tighten them, tighten the sockets, the top part, right? So one of my ex-girlfriend's fathers, he didn't think I was a very handy person. He gave me the socket wrench, and it's like a screwdriver socket wrench set. And he was an old-fashioned oil worker, and he was very crass. He was a nice guy, but man, rough individual, let's put it that way. But he bought me this and he's like, you know, you need to know how to use these tools. And I was like, I don't know what to use these for. And he thought he was going to teach me to work on cars. And I did a little bit of work on cars, like once or twice with him. But, you know, this was his indication that, like, if I was going to be with his daughter, I was going to have to be a man. And lo and behold, I grew up to be an IT person. So guess I didn't. I don't know. I don't know what he'd think about that. He'd be like, what? Work on computers all day? Yeah, pretty funny though. Needless to say, I didn't marry that girl. So, I mean, he probably got his way the way he wanted. He's like, yeah, I gave that guy a set of wrenches or a set of sockets and stuff. Socket like tool set, and he's like, yeah, get the hell out of here. I don't know. See, he won. He knew what he was doing. He got me out of there. So that's my funny story for the day. It's funny because I actually have another full set of socket wrenches right under this desk. Yeah, he bought me that. So that tool with the sockets and the screwdrivers. But look at this. I got a whole socket wrench set. I'm not going to open it up and this is Stanley. This isn't some crap set. I mean, Stanley's like okay quality. It's not bad. They're pretty good. I've been happy with that. I've had it for years because it works so well. So yeah. Anyway, he gave me the wrenches, and he got a different son-in-law, and I'm sure they're all very happy. So, all right, these are all the old ones. So we've completed the first task. I'm going to do the neck edge rounding next because it's going to take the least amount of time. So yeah, we'll do that part next because leveling the frets is going to be long and not easy. In fact, how long has this video got left? Okay, I've been at it for a while. No one's going to watch this thing. Like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so long. All right, so those are finished. Next up. Okay, let's soften these edges just a touch. Again, this is actually this is better than I've experienced the few other times I've worked on PRS necks. Like up here feels pretty, like that's not a bad edge actually. I might just give it like one pass. So normally what you do, you hold it at a 45-degree angle, right? And then you tilt it a little up. So imagine this is the edge, right? So I have it this way and I'm gonna pull it across and then I'm gonna tilt it a little upward. And so it's gonna be like 45 and then split the difference to like 22 and a half. And then I'm gonna go 22 and a half in the other direction. So I get like, kind of like, I'm trying to soften this edge and do each side of it. I don't know how to describe that. It's like, if you have a 90-degree angle and you go to 45 degrees, so like that's 90, then 45, then like 23 that way, and then 23 that way. Like you just want to get all those little angles. That was a lot of words for probably not a lot of help. Okay. So okay. And I can see a line there now that I've shaved it out. And that's perfectly fine. Is what we want. And you're like, it's discolored the fretboard. It has. And it will be fine when we do it. So that's like that is one solid pass. Am I just noticing the grain like afterward? No, it's fine. So do it again. It's like they reuse wood binding on these. I can tell if I look closely, like they have like a little wood binding that they go back over the edge of the fret so the fret doesn't stick out the side. And it looks really nice, but like when you look closely, it's like you can tell that they've bound the edge with more wood. And, you know, it's fine. It just like looks weird after I sand part, like after I shave part of it. I can't describe it. Okay. So I'm getting right up to the fret and I'm pulling. So the first time I pull it across, it's like it doesn't really catch. So I do it a second time till I really feel the wood underneath giving. And like sometimes it happens better on the second pull than the first. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I'm just doing it twice because this is already somewhat rounded. So I don't need to give it a whole lot of, you know, pull there. Okay. We are getting close to done. So again, I'm just really doing it twice. If you see me go back over it a second time, it's like maybe to just clean up like one spot. I'm not going to do the last two frets because they're over the edge of the guitar, so I can't get my finger there, so it's fine because it's not going to touch on that edge. So that one I can leave done. I find working on this side a little easier because, the positioning. And yeah, just pulling slightly and doing it. Okay. Almost done. Not going to be too much longer. Oh, meticulous work, but it's not, this is not hard. This is just time consuming, but it's not difficult. And I'm starting from fret to fret. I can like feel it run into the fret when I'm done pulling. Okay, so I've done them all. Now, when you do that, what you're left with, because you all see there's like wood dust on the ground now, like on the table. So I need to go back with a micro mesh pad. You don't have to have like a very hard grit, even though like I carved a pretty good edge in there. I'm just using, this is 1800 grit. So I'm just gonna like clean it up a little bit so it's not rough. And we're just gonna go over the edge. Yeah. And this side, like I said, is easier because of the way I'm facing. If you have a bigger table and you can like work away from yourself, I know it's not easy to see, but it's easier to like finish that nice edge. So good. Okay, we're done. Now, it has discolored the edge, which I anticipated. That is normal. Because I've like exposed the wood underneath, and you know, that is wood that hasn't been exposed to the same way, like air or whatever. If I get some fretboard oil and put it on there, it's going to clean it up. Actually, I'm going to not do that because I have to do the frets anyway. So that's done. At the end, I will put fretboard oil on there, and that'll take this discoloration out, and you won't see it anymore. So there we go. Man, I'm going to check these frets again. Oh, let's see if this actually takes any material off. Like, yeah. So the fret kisser is not kissing anything here. So it's so low. I can't remember, but I'm sure I think Music Nomad has a spec. They're like, if a fret is like rocks and there's like how you can check, right? I could technically put this fret rocker on the fret, on 2 frets here, right? Actually like this. And if I can fit a 4/1000 of an inch feeler gauge underneath, then that means I need to sand down a fret. So this fret kisser has a recessed edge with like some sandpaper, like some diamond coated sanding material here. And if I set on the fret, it should pull off that material in between, right? So it should sit flat on the 2 outer frets, and then the center fret should catch on this part in the middle. Well, if it's not 4/1000 of an inch, it's not going to catch. So I just rolled it. I know I can hear this one rock, but when I put the fret kisser on here, it's not catching. So I'm just going to do that with the fret kisser on all these frets and see. So it's not catching here. I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, it's not catching there. So even though they're not perfectly level, they're level enough where, oop, spoke too soon. So there we go. Now we got some catching. They're not so bad that it's a problem, but like now we found our first fret that was started to catch. So this means this fret here was 4/1000 of an inch too tall. So we will fix it. We know that the neck is straight because we measured that with the relief gauge. So this should just come out real nicely. Yeah, I'm almost done. I can already feel like it's not really catching anymore. Yeah, so that's done. And that was so minimal. I mean, I barely took any material off. So now, let's see, where was that? I believe it was right here. Yeah, I took so little off, it's even hard to tell which fret I was messing with. No, it's this one here. Yeah, there. So take my little micro mesh pad, take my little protective thing. This keeps me from sanding the fretboard. I'm just gonna give it a quick little rub down. So I didn't really flatten this out too bad because I didn't take off hardly any material at all. So it's not really that flat. So it doesn't need to be necessarily recrowned. So I can just use this little micro mesh pad. And again, this is 18/1000 grit. So like I'm hardly taking off any material, and it's like pretty shiny. So I can barely get this to rock. It will rock a little bit, but like just barely. And in fact, right there, I mean, it's pretty much good. If the fret kisser says it's good, I believe it. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. Almost there. It's almost starting to catch. Okay, we are almost done. So I'm checking with the fret kisser because the fret kisser will catch any high fret, right? All right, so there was just one. There was one that was too high. That was too high for the fret kisser to catch, and I've already kind of shined that up a little bit. So I started with 18,000. So I'm going to go to. We'll go to the next one, which is 24. I got to find the purple one. They're color coded, so that makes it nice. It's like a dark purple. I think that might be it. There's like that teal color. Yeah, this is it. All right, so we're going to go back to that fret. I believe it was the 6th fret. Yeah, it was the 6th fret. The two adjacent frets are shinier than the one. Like those are shinier because I haven't didn't sand them. So I'm just gonna polish this up, right? So we're at 24 thousandths. And this is not really taking off hardly any material. It's just getting it nice and shiny. And yeah, now that looks much better. Still a little rock, but again, it's so minimal that it won't make a difference. This action is already plays really well, so I don't need to do that. So that's it. I'm fairly content. Just one fret. If I really wanted to lower the action, if I was truly dedicated and I was like, I want this action as low as I can go, I would need to level the entire fretboard. But I'm happy with 5/64 off the low E, and I want to say this is 4/64 off the high E. That's fine. I find that very playable. Luckily, I don't need to use all the other tools. So the last part I'm going to do is just clean the fretboard and oil it because it has not been cleaned. It doesn't need to be cleaned because it's a new guitar, but we'll clean it anyway, just to get any material that has strayed from me, like, pulling off the edge here and pulling off the edge of the fretboard and then sanding that one fret. There's going to be a little bit of material there. So normally you would tape it up because if you do grind these frets, what happens is that little dusty, powdery metallic bits will end up embedding themselves in the fretboard. And once you get them in there, they don't come out unless you scrape it with a razor. They just get asphyxiated. Oh, well, asphyxiated. They don't get suffocated. They just get stuck in there, affixed within there. And yeah, so. All right. Just gonna give this a nice little wipe down. And I can already see like that edge is it's like soaking up this this like cleaner, and when I oil it'll be better. So just gotta do that and we'll be good to go. So there's a little bit of like grease and grime. I mean, probably just dust from being shipped and moved around, but yeah, pretty good. So that's done, nice and easy. And we're gonna do this side. And that will be it. So, it's like I almost want to be able to show you guys what I'm doing, but like show you what it looks like afterward, the before and after, but it's like I can't show you how a fretboard feels because that was the majority of it. Like, I mean, you can see locking tuners, but what does that, what does that really mean? It's like, okay, yeah, they're on there. I guess I could put them on there and have that on camera too. All right. Okay, so that's it. Yep, now it's nice and oiled. Good to go. looking good. Let's see if I can get the camera in there and kind of give it a little look. Right, so now you can kind of see. Oop, try to get out of the light. So yeah, I mean, you can see how that fretboard looks now. It's certainly cleaner and nicer. The one fret that was a little too high got leveled out. Yeah, so again, not perfectly level, but close enough that it's not a problem. And that is okay. That is about where we can be happy with. I don't know if you've ever had a guitar that got the strings were so low to the frets that like when you bend, the string will slip under your finger. So that can happen too if you do a lot of bends. If you're playing blues especially, you're gonna probably not like that. So yeah, the last thing we need to do is put the relief back in the neck, or take the relief out because we added relief. So again, this was at, well, it was at 0, and now it seems to have moved a little bit. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I got to align it perfectly. Yeah, so it needs to come back. So I'm going to just tighten it up. So see where we're at now. Just a hair more. Too much. Okay, now we're at 3. Are we at 3? Yeah, we're at 3. Okay. So I'm going to take it back to its proper relief, because when I put the strings back on, I don't want to have to adjust everything else, right? Because the truss rod is where it all starts. And you do your truss rod, then you check your, then you put the strings on, right? And you make sure the action's correct on the saddles, and then you check your nut. I believe that's the order. That's the order I do it in. Yeah, so there you go. Then that's all we need. All right, well, I think I will go ahead and wrap this up. I'll put the strings on. Maybe I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Thanks. Hey everybody, okay, we're back. Got the guitar set up, tuned up. Went through all that hassle. Yeah, there were some frets here and there that were unlevel, but really only one stuck out with the Stu-Mac fret kisser, kind of caught that one. I didn't feel like re-leveling it because I don't really have any playing problems with this guitar, so I left it as is. However, I did roll the fretboard edge, and then I also switched out the locking key, switched out the tuners with locking tuners, PRS branded ones, and they're pretty good. So yeah, we're tuned up and ready to go. Sounds good. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.